So today I have the privilege of having a great conversation with Christy Thomas, who is going to tell us about Girls on the Run, a pretty fantastic and phenomenal program. So I'm really grateful that you're here and that you've carved out time for us to talk.
Absolutely. I love to be able to spread the great information that we have about this wonderful program in our area.
Awesome. So maybe the way to begin, Christy, could you tell us just a little bit about your story, actually, and what led you to start this really great mission?
Yes, absolutely. So first off, I was a very shy, probably quiet young lady as I was going through my elementary and middle school. I know a lot of people who know me now probably are like, lies, all lies, but that's not true. I very much so was very quiet. I think a lot of girls just lacking that self-confidence, and I was never athletic. If you would tell me when I was in the third grade that I would be in charge of a running program for young girls, I would have laughed because I couldn't run from here to the mailbox without complaining about something hurting. So not athletic at all. The thought of PE sent me into anxiety.
Really?
It was awful. I hated everything about sports. And then as I've grown up, as I was growing up, I went to college. I got my degree in social work. Really loved helping people. I always tell people my family is a helping profession. My mom's a retired nurse. My dad's a retired social worker. So obviously it's in my genes.
In your genes, yeah.
My sister's a teacher, so obviously we are very much the helping profession. And so I've done a lot of work in Wichita, in Sedgwick County area. I've done hospice work. I worked for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for about 6 years. My oldest is actually adopted through foster care.
Really?
We were foster parents, so
Amazing.
kind of have this long history of just always helping and just having that connection there. And so I was actually working for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and they do this awesome program called Team in Training. And they take non-athletes like myself and turn them into marathoners, triathletes, cyclists, and they're huge events that they do. And so as I was working there, and they were talking about this great event in Chicago, and it was the Chicago Triathlon. So here I have never run a 5K in my life, and my first event I signed up for was a triathlon.
Wow.
So my husband and I fundraised, and we trained to run the triathlon in Chicago. It was an Olympic distance, so it was a mile swim, 26-mile bike ride, I believe, 26, 28, and then a 10K to finish it off.
You like to start light.
I do. I like to take things easy. I like to just test the waters, see how I'm going to do. So my husband and I trained. We completed that, and when we crossed the finish line, I just cried. I cried and cried and cried. And my husband's like, "Are you hurt? What's wrong?" And I was like, "I did it. I did this. I accomplished something so crazy out of my comfort zone. It's just amazing." Well, it was probably about maybe a year and a half later, I was at a conference, and someone sitting next to me said, I was telling her kind of about my journey, and I was training for now a half marathon, and kind of talking about that. And she said, "Man, have you ever heard about this program called Girls on the Run? Seems like something you would love." So I instantly went back to my hotel room and Googled it and read it, and I said, "Oh my God, we've got to have this. We have to have this in Sedgwick County. Our girls need this. I needed this when I was a little girl. So many of my friends needed this when they were little girls." And instantly hit the how do you start a site in your area, and sent them an email that night, and then went home and told my husband, "Hey, I think I want to start a nonprofit, and let me tell you about it." And he's like, "Well, if anyone could do it, it's going to be you, because you get something in your head and you do it." And through kind of lots of crazy times, it was back in 2000. It was 2011, and so times were things were kind of tough financially for everybody. So I needed to come up with about $10,000 to start the program.
Wow.
And really, basically, money just kind of fell in my lap for it.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody really reached out to me and said, "Hey, we'd love to help you get this started." And here's so at that point, I was kind of feeling like, okay, I really feel like someone else really thinks this needs to happen. And it has kind of been that way from the get-go. Every time we've needed something, it's happened. Even through COVID, we've been able to safely meet, safely have our teams, safely help our girls get through some of these really trying times. So.
And it sounds like, that your personal experience was deeply impactful and kind of an emotional moment, as you shared. And then it sounds like that transformed maybe what you did. You mentioned you were still going to do another, half marathon,
Right.
just kind of following that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there was a kind of an epiphany in that moment for you, and maybe the impact of what this maybe could be for the lives of other young women.
Absolutely. So, and I remember when I read about this, I remember thinking back, it kind of just took me back to that time, my first event and crossing that finish line, and how I have never had that feeling about myself, that I never felt like, oh my gosh, you are a rock star. Like you completed something that is just absolutely magnificent.
Yes.
And so much through that journey of training too is, God, I can't do this. This really stinks. I mean, I fell off my bike and I had road rash from all on one side of my body. And I wanted to quit. At that point, I was like, I am done.
Right.
But there's something about, okay, you just get back on that bike and just get back in that pool and just keep on moving. And I think giving a 10-year-old that sense of, man, if I work really hard, I can cross that finish line and complete a 5K. Maybe that also goes into, maybe I'll be the first one to graduate from high school in my family, or the first one to go to college, or the first, I want to be a doctor, but my whole family says there's no way you can do that. But if I work really hard, I can accomplish anything. And
That's
I think
amazing.
that's what I love about the program is giving girls that confidence they need. 10% of our program is about running. 90% of it is about self-confidence, teaching girls to love themselves for who they are, that not every girl is a size 2 and has straight hair, blonde hair, blue eyes, that girls come in every shape and size, and it's about being healthy, and it's about loving yourself. And so, so much of that's what our program's about. And there's just that sprinkle of the importance of, let's take care of our bodies. And girls may find out they hate running at the end of 10 weeks, and that's okay. I've had girls say, I absolutely hate running. That's okay, you are not gonna hurt my feelings. But you also found out that while you were running, that how good you felt, or how you slept better at night, or how, all these things that come with just being physically active.
And often there's a value too in those things, those tasks that we take on, and persevere through, even though it's not our favorite thing or a thing that we want to repeat.
Absolutely.
Can you talk more too about kind of the vision and mission of Girls on the Run, what that looks like, who are the girls that are a part of this program?
Absolutely. The thing I love about Girls on the Run is that it's for absolutely every single girl.
Awesome. Okay.
It is not just for girls who could run a 5K without any assistance at all. We have some great programs. We have great connections in our community. We have a team at Heart Spring, and it is absolutely amazing. Are they 3rd through 5th graders? No, they're actually older girls, and they do the program, and they have, Heart Spring has said, they have reached out to us and have said the amazing things that have happened. I actually had a parent reach out to me and said, man, I realized I was the one holding my daughter back all these years. Like, she's capable of doing so much more than what I thought she would be capable for, because I think there's no way she can run a 5K, and she did. And so I think that's the thing that I love about the program, is that it's for everybody. We have programs that are, what we would consider higher end private schools, and we have some that are, low income who really need the program. But the great thing is that all of our girls need the program. I have so many parents who will say, oh, my daughter, she has plenty of confidence. She doesn't need any more. I'm like, that's okay. That's okay, because every girl struggles with this. And I think that's a thing that every parent needs to be aware of, is that every girl struggles with it. It wasn't until I was in my, probably 30s that I realized the popular girls in high school, they didn't think they were popular, and they thought there were things wrong with them too. It wasn't until later on you realize, God, everybody feels that way, not just me. So I love that our mission is about that we want to serve every girl, and we want to empower them to be joyful, to be happy, to be confident, and also to be good members of our community. So part of our 10-week program, the girls as a team design and implement a community service project.
Really?
And so they find something that they're passionate about, and they give back to the community.
I see.
I always tell people the 2 favorites are other kids and dogs and cats. Dogs and kittens,
they get all the love.
They do. So, but it's so great some of the ideas they come up with. And, we've had bake sales, we've had, they've made chew toys for the Humane Society. And so just a ton of opportunities. And it's working together as a team, and it's coming together. The coaches have to sit back, which can be kind of hard for coaches, especially like me, who's like, oh, no, let's not do it this way. That just sit back and let them do what they
Sure.
want to do for somebody else.
Yes.
And so
that's part of the confidence building,
Absolutely,
right? Allowing them to get
absolutely.
in and make some decisions and
Yep, absolutely.
and watch that
Most
unfold.
definitely. And being those natural born leaders and that importance of working together as a team. And one thing that I do feel is beautiful about our program is just how at the beginning you can take a group of girls that maybe don't know each other very well.
Sure.
And at the end of the season, they wait for each other to make sure everybody gets safely across the finish line. They
awesome.
cheer each other on.
Okay.
We create that environment
Sure.
of that we are a team, we're going to support each other, we're going to work together.
Got it. So it kind of pushes against that, not that can't have its place of the rugged individualism, but it sounds like there's a very strong community ethos that like we hold each other up
Yes,
as part of the
absolutely,
program. Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's so important too at this age because so many times it is about tearing somebody else down because
Okay, right.
they're Miss Perfect or whatever, and they're so smart, and so tearing them down and instead of celebrating, well, God, you did it. You really are awesome at math. You do
Yeah.
a great job at that. I wish I could, maybe you could help me out and learn, be better at math.
Okay.
So it's trying to teach girls to lift each other up instead of tear each other down.
Good. How old are the girls that are a part of the program, and then how big can the groups be that participate?
Sure. So we have two different groups. We have a 3rd through 5th grade group, which
Okay.
does our Girls on the Run curriculum, and then we have a Heart and Soul curriculum, which is for 6th through 8th graders.
Okay.
So it's two separate curriculum. Our curriculum is a research-based curriculum.
Oh,
So I
really?
always tell everybody it's nothing I'm making up in my basement and just
Okay.
telling everybody, hey, it works. Look how great
Right.
it's doing.
I feel like
we
this is
know
the
that
right
it works. We know, right? Yeah, exactly. We know that it works. It's been researched. We're
Okay.
actually going through another research. We're a national organization.
Okay.
We are a local council, so
see.
we are our own nonprofit here. So,
Yeah.
but we receive all of our materials from Girls on the Run International.
I see.
And so our team sizes is anywhere between 15 to 20 girls.
Okay.
We try to cap that at 20. It's kind of that magic number, just to keep it small enough. So then you don't have a lot of those little cliques that tend to break off with
Sure.
girls.
Okay.
And that is an easier way to create that environment. And it's more manageable too for coaches.
I'm interested in maybe if you wouldn't mind sharing some of the most impactful things that that kids, that young women have said from their experience of being in the program, and now you having a decade-long experience to kind of reflect on. What are some of the things that really impact you?
I think a lot of the feedback from principals that will say, they saw a young girl coming into their school who was making C's and D's grade-wise and was sitting by herself at lunch and just lacking that confidence and kind of walking in the halls with her head hanging, and at the end of the season how her grades had bumped up to maybe B's, and how she, after the 5K, came to school with her Girls on the Run superhero cape that we have at the 5K and her bib number and her medal, and was smiling from ear to ear and high-fiving all of her friends. Just seeing girls come out of their shell. We have one young lady who did the program every season in the spring that she could do, and every spring and the fall, and then in middle school did the program again, and really she said, I loved it. It was my thing. That was my thing. I found my thing. Everybody has to find their thing, and
Right.
it's so important for kids who maybe just aren't athletic or have no interest in sports, but like this, and can help them get through some tough times.
Okay.
We also had a young lady who was really struggling with just some depression and anxiety, and really became very close to the coaches and
Okay.
confided in them,
Okay.
and we were able to really get her some help that she desperately needed.
Incredible.
And so I think
Yeah.
those moments like that we know we were in the right place at the right time,
Sure.
and that our purpose was to really help. And we've done that. I've seen, every season I see that we have impacted someone a little bit differently.
Sure.
And when girls sign up again, it's always kind of makes you feel good that, okay, they
Yes.
do like my program.
Right.
They do like this. They do want to come back.
Yes,
And
yes.
that, you see them cross the finish line. And I say this all the time, every season. I will cry at the 5K. I've done now 25 Ks it'll
Yeah.
be this year, and I will cry every 5K because it's just amazing to see the
beautiful.
confidence, and not even with the girls so much too, as the moms that come across the finish
Yes.
line and just are like, I never thought I would run a 5K. I can't believe I just did that.
Okay.
And how emotional they are.
Yeah.
So I think we're just giving girls so many fabulous tools to use,
Good.
and hopefully as they get older, they're able to pull some of those tools out of the Girls on the Run toolbox and
Good.
really just grow and be confident, healthy young women.
And I'm sure that is the case. Christy, I am so grateful that, again, that you made time to kind of share this message of empowerment. I know it's something that we all need, and it's so beautiful that you're taking a lot of the things that we know about really helping kids to feel resilient in their own bodies, and that transforms homes and families and communities. And so I'm grateful for the work that you did and are doing. So thank you so much for doing that and for sitting down with me today.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks.